All right. So we just experienced technical difficulties with our very first episode. No thanks to it's all thanks to me. So don't worry about that.
Job.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm gonna take complete blame for it. It was my fault. So, all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trilogy Podcast. I'm here with my friends and co-hosts, Emmy.
Hi.
And as well as Yin.
Sub.
Yeah, not okay. Anyway, all right, and welcome. Today we're basically gonna be going through our very first episode. This shows basically the questions that most people are too afraid to ask.
Yeah, pretty much. Where Reddit's content.
Yeah, where Reddit is content. And for all of you who were coming from the live event, again, that was my fault. I didn't know how to properly encode it. So
good job.
I'll fix that another time. Don't worry about that. But either way, so real quick before we get on with the questions, we're gonna go around the table and introduce ourselves. So Emmy, if you'd like to go first.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I don't really know how to introduce myself. I guess I'm the one who's going to be asking these two lovely fellows the weirdest questions from r/too afraid to ask. Questions that Redditors have posted that go on in your brain, but you don't really want to say out loud.
All right, and Yin?
Hello. You may call me Yin, some people call me Kai, some call me Yang, other people call me by my full name, which is weird. I am Tony's friend as well as Emmy's friend. I am the creator of the Yin Kai Yang YouTube channel, and they invited me here as a co-host, so it's a great honor.
Yes, it is a great honor to have you, and also
he's here to look pretty.
Yes, definitely. He is the pretty one of all of us. No offense.
The pretty podcast voice.
And so, also, for anyone during the podcast, I'm actually going to be linking Yin's channel in the description below. So, be on the lookout for that later in the podcast. I'll add it whenever I can. And as for me, my name is Tony. I am the host of the Trilogy Podcast. I am wanting to start up my YouTube channel. I've been wanting to for so long now, and I figured this is a really good way to start. Just ask questions, have a good time with some friends, and let you guys hear it. Maybe you'll get some laughs, maybe you'll get some cries, but if you do, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make your face water.
Don't cry.
Yeah, I hope we don't make you cry.
Please don't make the watchers cry.
I don't think we will. We just gotta make sure that our content is spicy.
Spicy, yes. Okay, well, today I have first I want to thank our sponsor Oxygen for allowing us to be here today and to speak with you guys. Longtime supporter of all of our lives, probably about what do you think, like a few million years old? Big deal kind of thing for us small podcasts to get such a big sponsor. But today I'm going to be asking you guys some questions. And the first one, let's start off with this. How many chuggas are you supposed to say before choo-choo? What do you guys think? Because I'm the kind of person where I think you got 4 chuggas. You got chugga, 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 and then a choo-choo, but I've heard differently. Some people think you get 2. What do you guys think?
Well, it depends on the intensity you want it to be, honestly. Like, if I'm being honest, couple times in either TV or just YouTube videos and such, I would hear people saying doing like maybe 20 or 25 chuggas, like chugga 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 choo choo. I say
that was definitely not 25.
I over exaggerated, but I would say it's not a matter of how many. I would say it's a matter of rhythmic kind of thing with it.
What do you think, Ian?
Is there really a confirmed number? I have to be honest with you. This has to be one of the weirdest questions ever.
I think more the way that I should put it is when someone says to do a chugga choo choo or whatever, how many chuggas do you normally just immediately go to? Because I immediately go to 4.
I go to 4.
You go to 4. How many do you go to, Tony?
Honestly, to be completely honest, I don't think I've ever really like counted, but if I were to say an actual number that I would post it as, I would say like chugga 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 chugga. I'd say 8. I'd say 8. Yeah.
We have an overachiever over here.
In a rhythmic fashion, you'd go chugga 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 choo choo.
Okay. Well, a little bit of an overachiever, but I've always known that anyways. I guess we're on to our next question. Here's another one. Do you guys ever just are having a really bad day and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed early. Even if it's like 5 p.m., you're like, nope, I'm going to just go to bed right now just so the day can end. Do you guys ever do that?
I guess
maybe not 5 p.m.
Does a nap count? Like, does a nap count in this instance?
Does a nap count? That's a real good question.
Like, because honestly, there's been days where I will be incredibly tired, and I'll just want a nap. I'll just want to like lay down, take a nap, wake up in the night, and just like feel all refreshed and nice.
So kind of like a restarting everything.
Yeah.
Do you do that, Yin?
I say no.
No.
If I'm not being productive, then if I am upset that very day, then I will do something productive. So I don't feel like I need to rest it off per se. Just work it off.
So you're a proactive, aggressive person. Like if you're very angry about something, then you'll just straight up like start working on something, or you'll clean something maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really go to bed early. I mean, sometimes I'm the kind of person where I'll lie in bed for hours just watching YouTube and let my mind go numb. Does that count? Kind of like check out from the world.
I mean, I guess. Like maybe.
Great podcast audio.
Like, okay, no, it's because like, okay, how about this? Like, watching. I don't think that counts, because if you're watching YouTube, that's not ending the day. That's just like procrastinating the day away. Like, that's like the day is still here, but I don't want to deal with it.
So what we've learned from this is Yin is the only proactive person, and we're both lazy.
I just nap. I'm not late. I just nap. I take a power nap.
You take a power nap. Okay. Here's another one. Are you guys ever like in public and you have your headphones on and you're just listening to music and just this thought crosses your mind of, oh God, what if my headphones were unplugged and everyone can hear my music? Do you guys ever get that feeling of like worrying that the entirety of everyone around you is able to hear your music that you're listening to?
Oh,
nope.
Very much so. Oh, yes. And also,
Never.
Real quick, before we go on, to answer your question, Demon Wolf, I'm not sure why you can only hear me out of your left ear. I'm looking at my audio settings, and they're...
It might be your headphones are not plugged in correctly.
Yeah, it might be your headphones bugging out or something, maybe. But either way, the question was, like, am I ever afraid of...
like, worried that people are able to hear your music, like your headphones aren't plugged in correctly, and you're just jamming out, and everyone around you is just able to hear you jamming out to Britney Spears?
Yeah, for sure, because I'm gonna say it right here. I honestly, I have no shame in admitting this. When it comes to me, there's a movie that I watched a long time ago that I still love. It's one of my favorite movies. It's called Selena, and it's about a Mexican pop singer that died at a very young age. I'm not gonna lie, I have a couple of her songs on my playlist, but a couple of them are like, you wouldn't expect to hear them on a grown man's playlist, and and also just sometimes I'm listening to very questionable songs from like Tenacious D or what is it? There's one song called Jizz in My Pants.
Oh, that one.
And yeah, I'm afraid people will judge me for that.
What about you, Ian?
Never really had that problem.
Never?
No.
What kind of that leads to the question, what kind of music do you guys listen to?
Mainly 80s, like 70s, 80s rock music. Sometimes I'll literally just like have like a really hardcore rock song on just because I'm in the mood, but then I'll just be like completely stone-faced on the bus, and I'm like, I wonder if like people like saw me and then thought I was like listening to like something nice, and I'm just like listening to like some hardcore rock music just blasting through my ears, how they would react.
What about you, Yin? What do you listen to?
Oh, I listen to everything. I like listening to pop. I love listening to rock. I like listening to metal, sometimes grunge, sometimes alternative. I listen to almost everything, even foreign songs, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Thai. Yeah, I guess so. And I like just being diverse with all my songs.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too.
I listen to many kind of genres of music, but honestly, if there's one that I really don't enjoy, and I'm sorry if I'm about to offend anyone out there, but honestly, I really don't like it. Country music, I do not enjoy it. There's like a little handful of actual like country songs that I'll listen to, such as "Wagon Wheel" by Darius Rucker.
So you don't like listening to people singing like "Hold my beer while I kiss your girlfriend."
Yeah, because like, okay, think about it. Every country song, almost every single one, it's literally either about beer, trucks, or dirt roads, or tractors.
You realize that basically that's the whole.
That's the point, but I don't like it. I mainly like my favorite artist, like, and has been my favorite artist for a good couple of months, or almost for half a year, would have to be Marshmello. He is my favorite artist right now. So, yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite artist.
Marshmello is my absolute favorite.
Okay.
What's the next question?
Let's see. Next question. Okay, here's a test for everyone. Everyone close your eyes really hard, like squeeze them really hard. And do you guys ever feel this like rumbling in the back of your head when you do that?
My eyes hurt.
Your eyes hurt? Okay.
My eyes start hurting. Like...
Do you feel like a rumbling? Almost like it sounds like there's just like a rumble in your ears.
No.
Do you feel that, Yin?
Yeah.
So I do as well.
I do not. I feel my eyes trembling whenever I do that. Like they're shaking, like they're scared or something when I do that.
Closes your eyes hard enough, your eyes are like, oh shit, I'm afraid of the dark. Please.
Oh, wait. Am I clenching my eyes shut? Is that what I'm doing?
I'm clenching them shut.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to try to look back into my brain. That's what I thought. That's what I was doing.
No, you're trying to play the Exorcist role.
Okay, hold on.
Eyes far back.
Let me try that then. Hold on. Ow. I don't hear a rumbling in my ears. But I hear like constant like hum, like
okay.
It's kind of like that sound that you hear whenever you wake up and stretch. You just hear it in your ears.
So there's actually an explanation for this.
Really?
So This is commented by someone called Sold Out. When you squint or shut your eyes tightly, the tensor tympani muscle contracts and tightens, and the eardrum through a tendon. So basically what happens is this tendon in the back of your head that's kind of close enough to your eardrums just tightens because you're clenching your muscles. And it basically produces this sound that's frequency range of 10 to 30 hertz, while fast twitch fibers produce 30 to 70 hertz sound frequency. So apparently not everybody can do this, but it affects a very interesting amount of the population. I don't know what the exact amount is, but yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, science.
So am I gonna die now, or?
Does what?
Is he gonna die now, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you squinch your eyes too shut, unfortunately, you will die.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Wait. Here's the question.
What?
Have you guys ever had it to where, at least whenever you were a kid or something like that, do you ever have those moments where you're so scared you just squint your eyes shut so hard you're just like, go away, things like that? Like, have you ever had that?
Yeah,
like,
I definitely did that.
Like, I did that once. I couldn't open my eyes because I kept them shut like that for like an hour, and I couldn't open my eyes. I don't know if there was a problem with it, but I had to force my eyes open with my fingers, and it was nuts.
Or like the things where, like, when you're a kid, your parents would be like, "Don't do this for too long, otherwise your face will get stuck like that."
Right. Okay, real quick before we go on to the next question. People in chat, real quick, I just want to make sure that everything's going okay. Like, for instance, are you guys able to hear the background music? Just need to make sure that you're able to hear that. Because if you are, then I did a good job for once. And while we're waiting for that, what else? Okay, they can hear it. Great.
Awesome.
Okay, so
I can't hear it, but whatever.
okay, so I have a question for all of us to answer.
Okay.
What's the game? Because I know we all play video games here. It's obvious we all play video games. I know you both.
Why is it obvious?
Because we're millennials, okay? Millennials play video
I have a
games.
whole channel dedicated.
You know, that's really rude there. Just categorizing us as millennials.
Yes, because there's
I'm gonna go eat my avocado toast in peace, thank you very much.
Okay, how about this? So here's the question. What's the one video game that got you into gaming? What's the one that got you into the craze?
One?
I have my answer, but I'll let Yin go first.
The very first video game that caught my attention.
I already see my answer in the chat.
Actually, I actually played it on the PS2. It was I forgot the name of it. It was a racing game. I know this. It's a racing game. That's how I got first into it.
Gran Turismo, maybe?
It might be Gran Turismo 4, but it was something else. It was more street oriented. Hold on, let me look this up. I know this answer.
Okay, well, while he's looking it up, mine would have to be Minecraft. That was like the first kind of video game I ever played. I played it when it first came out, like 10 years ago, and I still play it today. And it's interesting. Like, I wasn't really raised with video games. I had parents who didn't get they had flip phones for years, and I never really was around stuff like that. And I think the first time I was really introduced to YouTube was when I was like 13. So Minecraft would have to be the longest standing, and that was when I was 10 years old.
For me, it's a very obscure game, honestly. But the game that really got me into it, because I played games before that, but I was like, I don't know if it's for me.
Was it Doki Doki Sonic Senpai?
No, it was a game on the Super Nintendo called Clay Fighter, called Super Clay Fighter, and it's super like awkward. But it's just basically a fighting game for the Super Nintendo. You just it's just these augmented characters they're just made out of clay. And I played it with my mother whenever I was really young. It was still at my grandparents' house. And then my mother gave me her Super Nintendo the next year with that game, and I played it for so long. There was nothing to unlock, but I just kept playing it and playing it. And then she gave me her Nintendo, her NES, and I started playing games on that. And from then on, it was just video games up and up and up.
Okay. Ian, did you figure out what that was?
Yeah, did you find it out?
Yeah, I did. Okay. It was Automata Lisa. It was based completely on just standard street cars, and you just racing to the end, basically. I remember this vividly because I always spent my summer nights just constantly trying to beat my time, always clocking in minute 1 to 59 to 58, and then I was pulling like 56-second ranges. Wow. I always try to have a mental clock on me. I think that's what got me into gaming. Just keeping that mental clock in my head and just saying like, okay, this can happen to point A and point B. Then I just started going off into like Call of Duty and Left 4 Dead 2 and other FPSs, and I just realized it all started from just playing racing games. So play racing game, guys. You'll be amazed.
I was a Lego kid, and then I was like, what? You could play Lego on the computer? Well, I mean, there was Lego on the computer, which oh god, that was something interesting. But no, I have to say, like, Minecraft taught me math. Minecraft taught me, like, how to do multiplication tables of, like, 8s, which I sucked at, but I was like, 8, 16, 32, 64. Yeah. And,
wow. And as for everyone in the chat so far, we have people who've played such as most of them say Minecraft was their first, just like Amy, and one that is actually very interesting. First game was for this person was Crash Bandicoot and Wipeout. It's Dylan McCaig or McCaig, something like that. McCaig. I apologize for butchering the name.
It's just Dylan.
Oh, it's Dylan. Okay. Dylan. It's just like said. Wipeout is a futuristic racing game with more backstory than necessary, than is only accessed via the manuals. Have you ever seen those games where, like, for instance, like Super Mario Brothers on the NES? I understand back then you didn't really get a story in the game. It was limited. You had to go through the manuals, but there are still some games nowadays that you have to go through the manuals in order to get the story like correctly. Like, who's gonna do that?
I've never seen that.
I did that on the PS2.
Well, of course you did. We all did. We all did on the PS2. Oh, never mind. Emmy is the. Remember when you called me a minority yesterday, Emmy? Well, welcome to the club. You are now the minority.
Well, I mean, in general, I didn't grow up with video games. I grew up with books.
Oh, I did too.
Because I'm smart. Okay, here's another question. What was your guys' first video game console? Mine would have to be an Xbox 360 Connect, and then my parents sold it because me and my brother got too addicted to it and bought a used Wii. The story.
In my opinion, you got a good trade-off. I would have gotten a Wii over an Xbox any day.
See, I had Minecraft on the Xbox. And I played it too much to the point where I missed dinner and lunch a few times, and my parents were like, we're selling this. And this was when Xbox 360 Connect first came out. So they paid like $400 to $600 and then sold it and bought a Wii with like a Wii Fit board and the drum kit set, which was really cool.
What about you, Yin? What was your first video game console?
My first... it had to be the NES.
Mine...
Don't know what happened to it.
Mine would have to be... First video game console I ever played was a Game Boy with Wario World on it.
Game Boy or Game Boy Color?
Game Boy, just straight up the brick itself, Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got the Advance. That was different.
The first video game console I ever owned was the SNES. I was gonna say the PlayStation 1 because my mother surprised me with it one day, but no, for me it was the SNES with Clay Fighter, as I said. That system, I don't have it anymore because I left it at home, and one of my cousins wanted to play it outside in a tent, and
Oh no.
I didn't know about it, but I was fine with it. And my cousin left it out in the tent while he went inside. It started raining, and the tent got flooded, and it destroyed the console, and I couldn't restore it.
Can we get an F in chat for Tony's console?
Yeah, I get an F in chat, please, for my console. Bless its soul. But yeah, okay, Yin. Let's hear a question. Let's hear a question from you. What's one question that you'd want to discuss on this show right now? What's something in your head?
On my mind?
Just like any question. It doesn't matter what it is.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we shouldn't ask that. Yin's mind. I don't know if we want to go deep into the recesses of it.
Yin is an innocent boy.
You
Okay.
sure about that?
Very
All
sure.
right. Okay, one question then. One question. And it's been on my mind for a very long time.
What's that?
Okay.
It's kind of dumb now. Now that I think about it, back then, thinking about it, I was so worried back then, and me doing this crazy idea. Honestly, I already discussed it in my other podcast for details, but to bear you the terrible long story, I don't know if I really want to keep doing this thing without the motivation, you know what I mean? Because I started this whole thing without any motivation of myself.
Can I ask what thing you're talking about? Because I'm feeling a little lost here.
YouTube in general.
Okay.
So it's like kind of shot in the dark, and all of a sudden a huge gleaming light just blinded me, blindsided the hell out of me, and now I'm kind of stuck too deep in now, and I have no idea where I can go from here. And I have a decision to make in 2 months, and I'm not sure if it's the right one. It's just either go with it or leave it behind.
Like with YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's see. So the question is basically, should you leave it behind or keep going with it? Okay, so one way that I look at this is because I've been watching YouTube since its conception back in 2005. And I've been dreaming of the day that I can actually make my own YouTube videos, gain an audience, and it's like I've been dreaming of this day, and now I'm doing it, and I feel excited for what's to come. For you, I've seen your videos, I've seen your podcasts, I've been a part of your podcast a couple times, and I would suggest, man, even if it's just a hobby, I would say keep going for it, because like honestly, yeah, it's very disheartening to see all these bigger YouTubers, especially like getting demonetized and getting and just like seeing how easily it can be to not gain any kind of traction, but it all takes time. So in my opinion, I would say keep running with it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. You know, even if it's like you're struggling to do things if you have people who love what you do, then do it for them. And even if you don't like do it all the time or find that you need to take breaks sometimes, then that's fine. If you have people who are willing to support you, even if you don't feel like you can grind through YouTube and really like post videos every couple weeks, then just do it like casually, like a bit of a hobby almost.
Yeah. Plus,
I kind of wish I can enter in like that.
Plus, I mean, one thing that I'm going to be doing very soon, actually, and this is actually news for everyone in the chat. I was going to say this later, but I can say it right now.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. Hashtag shameless plug. So basically, for this channel right here, the Tony Boy channel, just letting you guys know what it'll be in the future. For one, the Trilogy Podcast will keep going on as long as we can. I know I want to keep going with it. I'm hoping that these two want to keep going with it.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the Trilogy Podcast without us.
Yeah, so... but as for this channel, it will become a somewhat of a variety channel, mostly gaming and or reviews of such. That's just something I've always wanted to do.
And eventually our plan is, if this podcast takes off and we get more listeners, then we would probably end up having its own channel.
Yeah, but as for now, the Trilogy Podcast will be a subsidiary of the Tony Boy channel. But like for me, as for YouTube right now, I know I'm going to be pursuing this, even if it is a hobby. I just love getting myself out there. I love to make people laugh. I love to entertain people. That's why I'm doing this right now. And
if you can't tell, he loves entertaining people and he loves attention.
I don't love attention, okay? Relax, alright? But, yeah. One thing about this channel that's going to be happening is we will be having the Trilogy Podcast once or twice a week. We're not entirely sure, and for someone asked why it says episode 0, or no, you said that's why it's episode 0, Emmy.
So,
in the chat.
The reason why it is episode 0 is we're kind of just testing the waters. We want to kind of just put it all out here. We had some technical difficulties today. We're just trying to figure everything out. So that's why it's episode 0, not episode 1, because hopefully by next episode, we'll have things way more organized and everything like that. Because in all honesty, it was only yesterday that we're like, hey, let's do the podcast tomorrow. And everyone's like, sure, why not? And then here's this child. Take it as you wish, but it will grow into, hopefully, something better.
Yeah, especially because Yin was the only one who was prepared for this whole thing.
Yeah.
He was literally the only one who was truly prepared. I still had to make our overlay for the actual podcast, which I did in a total of 10 minutes before we started.
Yeah, because he lost his keys.
I didn't lose my keys. Okay, story time.
No, I don't think anyone wants to hear this story.
Story time! Story time, yo!
Just warning you, this is not a story, this is a rant.
It's not a rant. Okay, here's the thing. I hired someone to mow my lawn, to mow my front and backyard for me. I hired them. They couldn't cut it because the grass is too wet, so they left. But while they were here, they found a pair of keys in my front yard, and instead of knocking on the door and seeing if they were mine, they decided to up and get in their car and leave with them in their pocket, and I destroyed my house looking for this pair of keys. And then I call them and say, hey, did you find a pair of keys while you were mowing? You know what? I've been trying to figure out who these belong to. She took my keys. And then the whole kicker of the whole thing, she says she's bringing them back. I'm waiting for her with Emmy and Yin. I'm waiting for them to get here with the keys. And while I'm talking to them, I just decide, you know what? I'm just gonna walk outside, see if they're even like driving up. The keys are underneath my welcome mat, and they didn't text me or call me to let me know. So I was sitting here for possibly 10 minutes waiting to go get my food so I didn't starve before the podcast. I probably broke several traffic laws getting my food fast.
We don't need to talk about this in this chat, Anthony.
So, yeah.
I think you need to keep that to yourself.
I broke several traffic laws. I will admit that now.
Speaking of cars and things, do you guys ever like kind of either you're driving or you're a passenger? Do you guys ever like just zone out, and then you zone out so hard that when you come to, you're like, wait, where the hell am I? Or time has passed by so fast for you. Or if you're a driver, you zone out and come to, and you're like, how am I still alive? Does it ever happen to you guys?
I haven't been a passenger for over a year. For almost 2 years now, I haven't been a passenger in a car. I've always been the driver.
Or in a vehicle. And
like you're just straight up. Do you
ever have it where you just look out the window and you just kind of zone out staring at something, and then when you zone back in, you're like, holy crap, 30 minutes has passed. How did that happen? Or a driver, you zone out for a second and then come to and you're like, how did I not crash my car and kill everyone?
I guess, yeah, whenever I'm on a highway that doesn't really have anyone around me, I guess. I don't even know if Yin drives in the first place. Do you drive, Yin?
I don't.
See, I don't drive. That's why I said the other part too, where you just zone out the window and then time just passes by.
I mean, yeah, I do. Sometimes I just put my elbow on the window and just look out it.
I kind of, like, whenever I'm driving, yeah, I've zoned out before, but here's the thing, when I zoned out, I was still aware of what I was doing on the road. Like, my body reacted to what was going on, and I would, like, be able to drive. Just no problem, going around a curve or something, but there was one time where I did zone out on a very long stretch of road. It was like, I saw a sign that said, like, 250 miles to my next destination, and then the next sign I see, I don't even realize how far I've gone, and I see a sign that says 50 miles. I'm like, huh? What? Like, I went 200 miles? I didn't even realize. It felt like 20 minutes rather than like, I was going like 60, so it's 60 miles per hour. That's like 4 hours right there. It felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah. See, I've had it where I've been on super long car rides. I'm talking like 13-hour road trip kind of car rides. And we would go to one destination every year, but we'd have to go down these back roads and things like that. And I've had it a few times where I've kind of like half fallen asleep, but not really. I've like zoned out where I've been aware of what's going on, but then literally 2 hours has passed. And I'm like, where am I? What the heck happened in that disorientation? Does that happen to you again?
Car sickness, maybe?
This is gonna get weird.
Well, it wasn't car sickness.
This is gonna get weird, so like I said, I always put my elbow anywhere when there's a window. Anywhere there's a window, I just always put my elbow on it and just look and stare. And I always have in the back of my mind something to think about. Either my day, my schedule, my future. I always do that. Every time there's a window, just look out it. That's what Yang does.
Mm-hmm.
Long car rides or long bus rides or long plane rides, whenever there's a window, I just always just stare at it. Mm-hmm. And then I just go into a mindless state, just thinking about one particular subject of any kind and just keep on doing it until I'm there at the destination.
Okay, here's another sub part of that. When I was a kid, and even sometimes now, whenever I'm on long car trips, I used to stare out the window at either the lines on the road or the telephone lines or their shadows on the road. Did you guys ever do that and just kind of watch it like loop or just like run along the side of the road like a snake?
I do know what you're talking about, yeah.
I Can you explain that again?
Okay, so basically, especially when I was like in school and I'd sit at the front of the bus and the bus door like could look right down at the road, and I would stare right down at the road and I'd stare at the yellow or white line that would go along the side of the road. And I'd just like stare at it and watch it kind of like snake around the road, and almost it looked like it was like running next to the bus, and I'd just stare at that. Or on long car trips, I'd have my head against the window looking down, but I would just watch that snake along the side of the road. Am I the only person who's done this?
Oh, you mean the line on the side of the
Yeah,
road?
the line on the side of the road.
No, I've done that before.
I find it super satisfying.
I've done that before, and those I don't know what they're for, but you know those like right before a stoplight or a stop sign, you see those like squiggly lines in the middle of a lane. You know what I mean?
Oh, those are rumble lines. So basically what that actually is under the ground, it will detect the vibrations from your vehicle, so it can detect if there's a vehicle actually at the stop sign or the stoplight.
I would look at those, and if there was sometimes like while I'm looking at the line on the road, if we're in a lane where we pass that line and we're still going fast, I'll see that, and it actually like made my head spin how fast it went by. Just like it was nuts.
Do you do that, Ian?
Yeah, I do.
What's one thing that you think that you just stare out the window at the most? Like one thing you look for when you stare out the window?
Clouds.
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 Okay.
Riveting.
No, clouds are good. What's wrong with clouds?
Nothing's wrong with clouds. It's riveting. I can't say riveting.
Like clouds and buildings, people.
It's like at least for me, whenever I because for those of you who don't know, I grew up in New York City, and like I never really took like taxis or anything, and my mother didn't own a car, but like whenever it came to actual like getting around in a car or a taxi because we couldn't get to the subway because it was too packed, I would just like, it'd be a steady cruise sometimes, and I would just watch
steady cruise in New York. What? That sounds unheard of.
It's not common, but there can be times where there's just a steady cruise, and I'd always look up and watch the buildings and watch the skyscrapers and buildings just like pass by. So that's what I would look for. Oh, side note to that, here's a question. Have you ever like looked at a blank sky, just blue blank sky, or even just a cloudy sky? Have you ever like looked in one spot specifically and then see like these like lines or like waves just like start going? No, not floaters. It's like they're like shrinking. It looks like a portal. Like it looks like a portal, just like
portal.
It like okay, it's a circle, and then it gets smaller and smaller, and it's just like moving away from you. It just looks like a portal.
Are you having a stroke?
I don't know. I've seen it all the time.
Call the ambulance.
It may be because whenever I was younger, I used to look dead at the sun, and
are you talking about like sunspots?
No, not sunspots. This right here would be, well, it was a sunspot, but I'd look at the sun dead on, like, so long until the sun looked purple to me because of the sunspot. It would look like a button, and I'd put my finger against the actual, like, the glass, like I'm pressing a button. That was whenever I was bored. That might be why I saw the portal thing, because my eyesight was getting bad.
Are you having a stroke?
Maybe.
It seems one person in the chat understands. Demon Wolf.
Yeah, he understands.
See, when you were explaining that, I was thinking you were talking about like eye floaters, like how when you look around enough and you kind of like focus on nothing, and then eventually you see these little like squiggly lines that kind of float across your vision, and when you move your eyes, they kind of almost, it's like they're in a layer of water. They kind of like shift with you, because those are eye floaters. Everyone has them. It's little either bits of like debris or not debris, but it's something that's underneath the layer of whatever on your eye. and it kind of floats over your pupil.
See, people understand. People understand what I'm talking about. See?
Yeah, eye floaters.
Huh. Well, I had weird eye floaters. Literally looked like a portal. I was trying to put my hand inside the portal to see what would happen if I went in, and I think I was having a stroke. I think I was having a stroke.
Or yeah, well, someone was saying like in the chat that they see colors that never existed. Do you guys ever have it where like you stare at something long enough, you question what color it is because you've been staring at it so long that something that was possibly blue is now green, like Fi said.
Are you guys getting strokes? Like, I'm not concerned a little bit.
I've had it sometimes where like I'll stare at something, especially if it's in a dark area, and you're just staring at something long enough, and you're like, wait, what color is that?
I mean, not really, no.
Never.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, not really, no.
I do not have a stroke. I am completely fine.
Okay. And just making sure, because everyone sounds like they were having strokes when they were looking at things. We got one pro man that literally said he was looking at a portal. We got another woman that just literally stared at one single thing trying to figure out the color.
It doesn't happen all the time, but I'm saying like where it's like how like you just stare at something long enough and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to explain myself. I feel like I'm just
I feel like I'm the odd man out of this whole group.
Maybe you are.
Dylan made a point about after images, like how they have a thing where it's like if you stare at a black thing on a white screen long enough and then you stare somewhere else, you can see the after image because it's been burned into your eyes long enough. So that's probably what you were seeing, Tony.
Probably.
You were staring at the sky long enough that when you looked somewhere else, it would look like there was a portal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another question. We were talking about car stuff, and I had like a couple car-related questions. Do you guys ever like feel self-conscious about your wiper speed?
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
You guys.
Say it again,
you feel
please.
self-conscious about your wiper speed.
Yeah, like if it's raining, like not that heavily, but just in that. No. Yeah, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. I'm pulling these from Reddit, but at the same time, I'm pulling ones that like kind of resonate with me. Where it's like it's raining. Okay.
Oh my God.
Where it's raining and can I explain, please?
Go ahead.
Where it's raining enough that you can't do like an in-between speed. So either your wipers are so slow that there's always speckles all over your screen and it's just annoying because you're like, oh god damn it, my windshield is not clear, or where you just put it enough that it's going really fast and as you're driving past other cars, their windshields are not going as fast and you're like, am I an overachiever for having my windshield go ba-da-ba-da-ba?
Okay, I don't know why.
What type of question is this?
A Reddit question.
Here's the thing. I don't think anyone has ever felt self-conscious about that because, honestly,
some people have.
I don't care what people think about my wiper speed. It's my wiper speed. Like, what is it? Like, why would I feel self-conscious about that?
I'm just gonna imagine it now. I just like get my car. I'm just gonna see if I can set the speed right, and then just like, no, it's not right.
Like,
Who questions it? As long as my windshield is clean.
Oh my god, just straight up like yeah, as long as it's clean. Like what am I gonna do? Am I gonna drive by someone? They look at me for a second. I'm like, oh no, they're judging me. They're judging me based on my wiper speed. Oh god, they're gonna think I'm a weirdo.
You're making fun of me, haha.
I think I'll be more concerned on the road than I am my goddamn wipers.
Yeah, really.
Even if I'm not the one who's using the wipers, if I'm a passenger and the wipers are going like pop, 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 and everyone else is like going.
Wait. So as a passenger, you get creased as we keep on watching the wipers just go at an inconsistent speed.
Oh
You
my
have to
God.
admit that now. You gotta admit that now.
Oh jeez. Okay. You know what?
You know what? Here's the real question. Here's a question. How about this? I mean, okay. Honestly, like, okay. Good. Let me get this straight. That was a good question. Good for a laugh. But I mean, honestly, I'm more self-conscious about what I wear rather than my wiper speed.
Okay. Well. Yeah. I mean that's true.
Okay. So here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to, let's say when it comes to driving, are you self-conscious, or have you ever been self-conscious of either the way that you drive or the way that someone else drives, like while you're with them?
My dad is a very fast, aggressive driver. Like he takes the speed limit as a suggestion kind of person. And I swear, every single time I drive, like every single time I'm a passenger in his vehicle, I automatically push my foot against like the floor, like I'm trying to press on a brake, like please slow the fuck down.
I do that too. I actually like push down like my foot onto the ground.
On the floor, yeah.
Yeah,
I
on
like
the floor.
push myself back.
I'm like, stop.
I know, and I'll like even tell him to slow down. He's like, I'm the one driving and I'm doing it safely. I'm like, I don't care. I feel uncomfortable when you're going 80 kilometers per hour in a 50 kilometer per hour zone down a very fast hill.
And also, Dylan, to answer the question of why would I be self-conscious about others driving, well, for one, if I'm riding with a friend and it's like 50 mile per hour road and he's going like 25, people are gonna drive by honking and saying like, "Drive, Grandma." That's embarrassing, somewhat. What about you, Yin? What about you?
And I don't. Yeah.
Self-conscious on either the other driver or mine. Okay. Honestly, I'll be more concerned about the other driver because I know my safety is already in the hands of myself or another person driving. So I'm more concerned of the other one than myself. If I know I have a point to be made, like say from point A to point B, at least I know where I'm going. I know which destination I'll reach. And I know evidently it's not always going to be safe. Even if you're driving safely, it's not always going to be. There's always a chance. So that's why I rely on the other driver to drive as much as I do safely.
But you don't drive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if I theoretically drive, I will think that the other person should be driving safely as much as I do. Just saying.
Fair enough. Oh, one thing. Going back to the topic of like looking out windows at things, one thing that I've done a couple times where when I was younger, I used to take a Greyhound bus that would take me over the ferry and to basically where my parents were downtown on the other side, on the mainland. And so whenever I would go on this Greyhound bus, because it's so high up, or whenever I'm on like a double-decker bus, which we have here because we're cool, I'll look down the side of the window and I'll like kind of like people watch people in their cars. Because like, you know how when you're in your car, you do things because you don't think anyone else can really see you doing stuff like that? I just find it so interesting that people watch people in their cars. Because like, I've seen some interesting things. So, yeah, no, I've seen some interesting things. So like, would you guys ever want to do like what's your guys' view on people watching?
People watching. You just mean staring.
No, I mean like when it's just like you go into like a cafe and you sit down and you just kind of observe how everyone around
you're staring.
You. Not staring. I'm not telling you to like drool as you stare at the bartender who's making all the drinks and just like kind of tilt your head to the side and smile and like not break eye contact with him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like when you just kind of just sit in a space, or like when I'm on the bus and I just kind of observe everyone around me, and then you kind of like just kind of observe, not stare. Observe.
Are you talking about like? Okay, I know what you mean by people watching, but like, like I guess the times that I've actually ever done this like would probably be, what is it? I sometimes look at people and I just try to guess like what are they like, what is going on, what are they doing, like what kind of person are they from what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, like I saw a dude in a Walmart parking lot once and he was with all his buddies, but he was wearing like these purple Crocs that were way too small for him, and I'm like, this dude probably was rushing out the door and he just put on his sister's purple Crocs. He's like, yep, these'll do.
Okay, there was a woman, well, a man, at Walmart.
Hold on, wait, can you explain why you started off with a woman and then the woman?
Because it was a man dressed as a woman, and they wanted to be a woman because they told me, because I accidentally said "sir," because I was I was at Walmart. I was trying to get my I was just trying to get something at that moment. I was trying to get, I think it was chili off the shelves. I was trying to get some chili, and this person would not move. And from the back, it looked like a man, which it was. But I said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm just trying," and they turned around, and that taught me to, whenever I'm people watching or looking at someone, never assume who they are, because it turned around and gave me the most "I'm going to wring your neck" look I've ever seen. And I got told, "You," it's like, "What'd you say?" No, hold on, let me rephrase that. "What did you say?"
Yeah.
Like, it got me so quick. I just got so scared. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. And she said, "I am a woman, and what do you want anyway?" I went, "Oh, I just want some chili." She grabbed a can and threw it at me.
Oh,
she didn't chuck it at me. She just like tossed it in my direction and said, "Here, take it." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. It's not the one I want, but okay, I'm leaving." I left.
I mean, I don't really consider that people watching. People watching is more like where you don't interact with the people. You just kind of watch them. Like,
You're staring at them.
You're scary. Like, I was waiting for
That's
the bus.
like the simplest term that you could ever use.
I was waiting for the bus the other day, and this dude on a skateboard came by and was just like, just mind his own business. My bus came like probably like 5-10 minutes later. I get on the bus, and then as we're going, I see skateboard dude again. And in my head, I'm like, skateboard dude is low-key racing the bus now. This is happening. Because at the same time, we would stop at stops, skateboard dude would get ahead. We go faster, and then we get past him, and then it was kind of like this, like, I don't know. I just make up little stories in my head when I'm watching people. Not in a staring or creepy way. I'm just saying observing, okay? Jeez.
Well, like, okay, Yin. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so Yin, what's your view on all this? Because we already know that you're thinking like it's literally just staring at people.
Just staring at people. That's my view on it. I mean, observing like people is just a little too intrusive of me, so I try not to do that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I understand.
You can't understand the whole prospect of people watching because you don't people watch.
I try not to do that because it is considered rude to just look around and gawk at people.
We're not gawking. I'll just be listening to music and not staring at people or making facial expressions, but just kind of looking around. And I find it interesting because every single time me or someone gets on the bus, does this happen to you guys where you or someone else gets on the bus and they do this every single time where they just kind of look around the bus and observe, this is who I'm going to be with for the rest of my trip till my next stop.
I mean,
honestly, I try not to look anywhere. Honestly,
Okay.
I try to keep myself in my own bubble. I don't want to interact with anyone. I don't want to cast any signal of my appearance. Just
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say your existence, but okay.
oh, don't worry. That is included too. Don't worry.
I don't want you to know of my existence. Stay
I don't
away
want
from
you to know I'm
me.
here. I am a ninja. I am a bust ninja. All you hear is the beep of my card, and you never see me sit or stand.
But I guess I can understand your view of it. You're just like not interacting. You're just looking around.
Yeah,
and
just
just
kind of observing, like how can I put it? Like you don't really do it to make people feel uncomfortable. You just kind of do it because it's like how when you go into nature, you don't stare at trees and try to make trees feel uncomfortable. You just kind of observe everything.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that if I'm pretty sure if I stare at a tree, it's not gonna care.
I would have said like if there was campers there, then yeah, sure. But
You know, it's considered
a
people
fucking
watching.
tree.
Like honestly,
No.
I'm pretty sure that if I ever look at a tree, it's not gonna look at me funny. It's not gonna wonder, is he looking at me?
One of them is secretly an ant. You never know.
Secretly, and
Yo,
what?
You better watch out. Mother Willow's about to smack that ass.
Oh my
I'm
god!
just gonna imagine just like a redwood is saying like that dude's a prick and just like smacks him.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Oh,
This is the reason why you're the researcher for sure.
okay, I see how it is. Okay, another question here. Do you ever feel embarrassed for people who walk into things when they're on their phone or something in public? I saw this dude straight up walk into a stop sign the other day, was not watching what he was doing, was walking too far to the left, tried to stop at the curb, just straight up smacked his face on that stop sign.
I don't feel sorry for him because he should have been looking where he was going.
I'm not feeling sorry, I just feel super awkward with him. I'm like, ooh, that's like...
I
man.
agree with Tony on this one. Should have just kept him looking around.
I'll just like look if they really hurt themselves, obviously I'm gonna be like, oh whoa,
Are you alright?
Like, are you alright? But if they like run into something and they're just like ow, I'm gonna be like if I wasn't
Do you feel
so
sorry
nice,
for them, or the opposite, do you laugh at them for running into things because they're stupid?
I'll laugh at them. They just
I'm the kind of person where I'm like, oh shit, oh dude, you must feel so awkward right now, I'm sorry.
They just ran into a pole. I'm not about to straight up like say, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm gonna be like, "Should have been looking where you were going, dude." Like, no, I expect the same thing to me. I mean, okay, again, if like let's say someone's walking with their phone and they like get hit by a car because they weren't looking, obviously I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" But if they run into a pole and be like, "You win," it's like if they fall on their ass, I'm gonna be like, "Haha, he fell, go boom."
What? Wait, what?
He fell, go boom.
What? No, Tony, no.
He fell, go boom.
Are you talking to Tony's 7-year-old self?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I've heard 7-year-olds who have better explanations.
I don't need it. No, I don't need that. No.
Jesus.
Quote of the day.
Oh,
Don't worry, Em. You have a fair few yourself.
Okay, I'm
fall, go
proud of
boom.
my quotes, and
I'm conscious of a goddamn viper. And trees.
The trees.
oh jeez. Okay.
Tony, did you take a hit before this? No, he did not. He assured us he did not. Because if he did, it would have been disastrous.
Oh, jeez.
We would not even be able to start this.
Here's another question. Do you guys, after hanging out with certain people for a while, find that you start to mimic or mirror their mannerisms, speech, the things that they do, the way that they say certain things?
Like,
Because I find that happens with me a lot.
replicate their mannerisms?
Yeah, like,
If it's
Like,
someone I admire and look up to, sure.
Well, I don't really think I admire or look up to. Like, here's an example of a really weird thing. So I never used to say yeet. Ever.
We're using that as an example.
Using this, okay?
We're using yeet. Oh my god, we're using yeet.
Oh man, right off the bat, that's great.
Yeah, okay, here, I'll put one in
Oh
here.
my
So
God.
Dylan said he made 3 Germans have a Scottish accent. I'm the kind of person, I live with an Irish person right now who has a very thick Irish accent. And sometimes I find myself saying things exactly the way she says it. I'm like, is this racist? I hope it's not, because I'm not trying to do it on purpose. But it's like, when you're around someone long enough, like, I had a friend who continuously said yeet all the time, to the point where now I'll just say yeet. Or dabs. But, like, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm a meme. I'm a living, walking meme, okay?
Just he and then Dad, he was like 2 years late.
Oh my god.
You are too late, man.
This is
I'm
way
so
too
sorry.
late.
Is this what the cool kids do? They say yeet and dab?
Cool kids, we're
2 years late.
What do you mean the cool kids? You're acting like we're in our 30s. We're in our 20s.
Here's an example. So, us Canadians, the way we
Okay.
pronounce sorry is sorry. You guys Americans, you pronounce it with an A, like sorry. I find a lot of times when I'm around a lot of people who are Americans that eventually I stop saying sorry and I start saying sorry. And it just kind of just happens.
Okay,
Like, I'm
that's
starting to
normal.
pick up, yeah, I'm starting to pick up on your mannerisms and things like that. So, like, I don't know, this happens to me a lot because I love accents, I love the way that people say things, and I find that I pick up on stuff like that. Does this happen to you guys?
Again, if it's someone who I admire and look up to, sure, I'll replicate their mannerisms because of the fact that I want to be like that person.
But I'm not saying, like, on purpose, I'm saying where it kind of just happens without you realizing it.
Then how would I know if I do? How would I know if I replicate it if I don't even notice?
Well, like, you would have noticed eventually. Like, something that, like, you didn't do on purpose that then you noticed you started doing after talking to someone for a while.
Like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. And also, Wolf, I'd just like to explain to you, I don't need to act like an adult to be an adult. I can act like a kid anytime I want.
I live with a 50-year-old Irish woman who...
Loves Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different story. But she, like, has a humor of a 12-year-old. And, like, we've even talked about, like, you don't have to act like an adult to be an adult. Like, yes, I pay my rent, I pay my taxes, and I'm still allowed to laugh at a cat falling off a roof and landing in a pile of snow and freaking out because they don't know what snow is.
That's morbid.
It's the snow, okay?
It's like, hey,
He was like envisioning like a horror film, just like one person committing suicide. It's the cat, and then just like falling, and then splat. And...
Splat the cat. All new episodes. Actually, it's just episode 1. We couldn't go any further. Splat the cat's dead now. Moving on.
But what about you, Yin? What about the whole replicating mannerism thing? What about you?
I guess I do, but it happens the opposite way.
Where people start...
Yeah, they started mixing with mine because I always say no worries or like I got this, and then
Yeah,
I
like
was like,
saying...
Like other times, it's just like people like try to copy like. Everyone keep on thinking I have a sophisticated grasp of vocabulary, which I don't. I just happen to talk this way because I think it's the proper way of talking to people because they're real. They're not fake. I might as well just talk to them like they're one-to-one.
According to Yin, everyone who doesn't talk like Yin is talking fake.
There we go.
Like I just want to be as real as possible because I don't want to like give them like a facade that I'm not this person. This is complete one-to-one. So to other people that I believe is like not really showing their true face to me. Like I don't care if you have to be the meanest person in the world, the saddest person, or the happiest person. Just be you. Be comfortable. So that's where I kind of feel like that's where my mannerisms start to take hold because everyone's just saying like, "Do you ever not stop saying no words?" I'm like, no. No,
Fair enough.
not at all.
And that's one thing, me saying fair enough. I got that from a friend who would always say fair enough.
See? Same thing.
And that's the thing, is now like that's something that's now just a part of my language, a part of the way that I speak, my mannerisms. And it was from a friend who, no matter what it was, would always be like, fair enough.
Tony's a whole different story.
Hey, what do you explain?
See,
Explain.
that's his typical thing. He keeps it whenever he feels like he's being shunned. Hey.
Like,
He goes up on his
okay, whenever I'm backed into a corner by someone,
yeah.
when I'm backed into a corner by someone, honestly, like, yes, I will be like the last time I really had to stand up for myself in that kind of instance, I'm like, hey, hold on there. That is not true.
Hold on.
Like, I'm not a violent person. I try to solve
I'm
everything.
not a violent person, but I'll go hey if I want to.
I'll go Fat Albert on them right now. I'll just be like, hey, you better step away. So,
Hey, step away.
like,
Well, I'm gonna make you have a bad day.
like, it's just really, like, kind of, I'm not a violent person, but if something happens to where I need to defend myself in that manner, sure, but when it comes to mannerisms, I generally try to keep things very low, like, very low to the ground. Like, if someone, like, let's say Yin is talking to me, and he brings up something from the past, and, like, he's trying to use it against me, I'll be like, hey, hold on there, buckaroo. Relax. Let's not get into that. Let's just get into the fact of what we're fighting about right now. The only true person that I ever copied mannerisms of that I can remember, I've taken mannerisms from a lot of people who influenced me as a kid, like anyone who I watched online, any kind of movie actors that I watched, anyone in my real life.
Trying to be famous.
Hey, I learned a lot of what I know now. I'm the trash man.
He does say a bunch of movie lies. He does.
He does.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't go around to people saying like, "Oh, look, I dropped my monster condom that I use for my Magnum dong." I don't say that to people.
You say that on Discord, that's for sure.
I mean, I don't think you would want to say that to people in general because you'd probably just be embarrassing yourself by saying that out loud.
I mean, I've said things. I've said things like that I didn't know. Okay, I say things to embarrass myself in the first place because, like, it's just to make people laugh. But
yeah.
But there are certain things I will not say. I will not cross that line. Tony wants to be a rock star. Suki, I do not want to be a rock star. I sing, I don't rock. I smashed my guitar.
Musical boy.
I smashed my guitar, so I can't use it anymore.
That's already the beginnings of a rock star.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Okay, I got another question for you guys.
Okay.
So, do you guys ever have it where you have, like, bumped a chair or something, or squeaked your shoe or something, and it makes, like, a fart noise?
What? Wait, what?
Hold on. like it makes a noise, which in your head you're like, oh, someone could think that I just farted, and so you bump the chair again, or you squeak your chair, or you squeak your shoe again, just to be like, yeah, no, it wasn't me, it was my shoe.
Is this another confidence
Is
thing?
this another white person thing?
Okay.
It's relations to that, isn't it?
Okay, no, I got a story for you guys. So, I had a friend in math class. I think I've told this to maybe you, Tony. I don't know if I told it to Ian. So this kid, he thought he was smart. So basically, we're just sitting in math class and we're doing like our work time or whatever, and all you hear is this big thump of a textbook, and everyone kind of turns, and then you just hear the loudest ripple of fart just spread throughout the classroom. And everyone just kind of was like confused because there was a noise and everything like that, and we kind of laugh a bit. And I asked him later, I'm like, dude, what was your whole idea? And he said, well, see, I was trying to time my fart with the thunk of the book. So if anyone was wondering what was going on, I could just say it was the thunk of the book. But then the thunk of the book scared me, and I didn't fart on time. And so I'm like, okay.
Just
It just sounds so ridiculous.
I mean, it was 10th grade math class, so like...
Oh my god, this just sounds so ridiculous. Okay, have I ever done that before? No.
No, I'm saying like in general, his idea was, if I make a noise that sounds, I guess in his head he's like, this sounds somewhat like that I could blame something on. But like, hold on, I have a bit of a squeaky chair, like, and so like, I've moved my chair a couple times, I'm like, oh shit, it's just my chair squeaking. And it's like, it's kind of in a sense where it's like, have you ever done something and you've been embarrassed by the sound because you're like, I don't want someone to think I farted, and so you do the noise again.
Okay.
Who the hell thinks that?
Yeah.
Who the hell thinks that?
If you're sitting there and you're embarrassed by the sound, why make it again? You're just gonna embarrass yourself again. Like, where's the logic in that?
Where is it?
Okay.
Like, you're embarrassed because you think somebody thinks you farted, so you do it so that in their mind they're like, oh, it was just the chair.
If anyone looks at me and realizes, like, and says, like, was that you? I'm like, no, it was the chair. It's like, and if they say, are you sure? I'm like, I don't need to prove myself to you.
I'm just imagining it now. She's just in the classroom. She's just trying to lean over and try to get a book, and then she just completely, just moves a chair in simultaneous fashion. And Em's just like, was that you? Like, no, it's just a chair. What type of ridiculous circumstance do you have to be to have that type of question? Like, did they do it in class or something?
Honestly, like,
Thing?
like, okay.
No, I don't know what was going through my friend's head.
Okay, so like the only time where there was one time where I just straight up ripped a big one in class. Like, I did not care. I ripped it. I did not care if anyone heard. I had to do it, and I asked the teacher if I could go to the bathroom, and she said, "No, you cannot. You can hold it until break." Class had just started. That's 55 minutes of me waiting. So I just straight up, when everything was silent for a second while we were reading, I just let it out. They said, "Was that you?" I'm like, yes it was. The only time where I did it and I didn't mean to was I was in church. It was it was really bad. I was in church, and it was a moment of silence of all things, and right after it ended, they said, "Amen." I stretched. I went, yeah. Like, my eyes went wide open. Everyone looked at me, and I just tried to make it funny by saying, "That was for Jesus."
What the?
I said, "That was for Jesus."
That is not for Jesus. That's for, like, Satan right there. That's the call of Satan.
I just feel like that was for Jesus right there. That was for him. He wanted that right there. Like, oh my God.
I guess in a sense, it's kind of like, I'm a girl, And so, like, for you guys, it's like when a guy farts, it's like people will laugh. When a girl farts, it's like society's like, oh, what? Females can actually fart? I'm so offended, kind of situation. So I guess that's where more like the stigmatism of like girls are apparently not supposed to release any bodily functions in the form of gas.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Well, okay, so like when a guy farts, people kind of laugh at it. But have you ever seen it where like a girl farts and people laugh at it?
Yes.
In like public?
Yes. Called college.
They're not your friend?
I mean, I remember when I went to college, a bunch of the guys in my dorm and
But were they friends?
Well, one girl was brand spanking new. We didn't know her. So we took her to a Whataburger with us just to hang out and get to know a couple of us, like get to know us, get some friends. And while we were there, a couple of guys farted, and she thought she would join in. She ripped the biggest one out of any of us.
But that's like where it's like it was on purpose.
Okay, my grandma farted once on accident. My grandpa always farts and not noticing it.
You're like, my grandma farted once, just once. The entire of life, she's just farted once. This podcast has gone to shit, literally.
No. My grandma, she farted once by accident. It was during Christmas, and it was nuts. It was funny, and but my grandpa, he like we'll just be doing something. I remember we were in Arkansas visiting one of their friends in a retirement home, and me and him were playing pool, just waiting for my grandma to get done like visiting, and he bent over to like line up his shot, and all I heard was like, like I looked around real quick wondering what was that. Then it happened again. I just heard that like oh that's you. And he just went like, what was me? I'm like, nothing at all. It's okay. It just kept happening.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in life, like, there's like that whole thing where just like society is kind of like, when it comes to things like farts, they're like, yeah, it's kind of still in that women should be seen, not heard kind of mentality, even though we've tried to get past that for like over 100 years now. It's still hard.
Right.
Okay, next question before this really turns to shit. Do you guys ever have that habit?
Goddamn question.
Do you guys ever have that habit of like checking your alarm many times before going to sleep and like being like, if I go I can get 8 hours. Do you ever have that?
No.
Wait, you're checking your alarm a bunch of times and then what?
No, like you check your alarm and you're like, okay, if I go to sleep right now, then I can get 8 hours. Like, if I feel like right this second, do you ever have that feeling where it's like you like kind of plan out like the most amount of sleep you can get in
all
the
the time? All the time.
Never.
All the
I feel
time.
like you're an anomaly.
Recently I've become a night owl again. I tried to fix my sleep schedule, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. So right now I'm a night owl. I go to sleep at like 6. I go to sleep at like 6 in the morning, and
Oh God.
I wake up for work at like 9. So I get about 3 hours of sleep.
What the hell, boy? That's bad.
And then whenever I try to get a little bit more sleep, I do so. But like, yeah, I always, especially back in college, I'd stay up all night until like 2 a.m. and I'd have a class at like 10, and I'd just be like, like I'd look at the time be 1:30. I'd be like, okay, so if I go to bed at 2 o'clock, that means I have 8 hours of sleep. But if I stay up for one more hour, that means 7, and I can deal with 7 hours. And then I wake up and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, like it's bad. Like, and also the whole what Suki just said, 20 more seconds. Like, yeah, sometimes I wake up before my alarm. I look at it and it's like 5 minutes before. I'm like, oh, 5 minutes of bliss. Oh, please, 5 minutes. And then when it goes off, I'm like, snooze, 2 more minutes.
I'm the kind of person where it's like a minute before my alarm goes off, I'll wake up. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. You couldn't stay asleep for one more minute, brain? You couldn't stay asleep for one more minute? Really?
Yeah,
Yin?
Yin, what about you? Come on. You got to have something close to this.
I'm kind of like a rooster. I'm kind of like that. No. What I mean by that is I have like a natural alarm clock to me.
Okay.
And I always wake up before my alarm, surprisingly. And I always set my alarm every single day, Monday through Sunday, at 8 a.m. And I always wake up at 7 a.m. And I was just like, okay, cool. Then I just got used to it.
Okay, so here's another part of that. Do you guys ever wake up feeling rested? Because I do not.
I do.
I do.
There will be times, especially I remember this certain nap I took while in trade school.
A certain nap, only this one.
This nap, I will always remember this nap. I don't care. I will always remember it. I went to my bed. I felt like it just felt like my eyes were wanting to close on their own. I laid down. I closed my eyes, and it was just like, oh my God. I fell asleep, woke up like maybe 4 hours later. I felt slept. I felt so slept. I felt so good. I was like, oh my God, I'm ready for anything right now. And then after that, I took a dump, and I felt so cleaned out and everything. I'm like, I'm ready! Like, for anything. It turned out it was like 8 o'clock at night, so there was nothing to be ready for. So, yeah. You laugh at me, but it's...
I always wake up groggy. No matter how much sleep I've gotten, if I've overslept, I wake up groggy. If I've underslept, I wake up groggy. If I slept just enough, I wake up groggy. And it takes a while for me to crawl into my body. I'm just not a morning person.
I just, oh my God, it's great. I love waking up just at that time. Like, yes, the heck was that in my background? Oh, okay, never mind. Something fell. I might be haunted. Anyway. Okay, how about this?
Ghost is coming to eat your ass.
Here's a question.
Okay.
When is the last time that you woke up, like, just, when's the last time you woke up pretty much scared for your life because you were just because you had that bad of a nightmare? Like when's the last time that you woke up and were like, oh.
Let's see. 10? Maybe?
10?
10
like 10 years old.
10 years old.
I was like, 10 what? Huh.
And then I have no dreams after that. I was just like, whatever. Just gonna sleep.
No dreams. You just have...
You don't dream?
You don't dream, Yin?
No, I just rest my eyes and then just all of a sudden wake up.
Huh.
I mean, okay.
That's interesting. I think the last time I had like a nightmare where I truly woke up in fear and terror. I'm not a person who watches horror movies. I am a bitch baby when it comes to anything horror related. I cannot. Nope. And so back when I was about grade 11, there were some people in my school who were like, okay, I want you to watch Supernatural, because everyone in my friends group watched Supernatural, and everyone's always talking about it. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine, I'll watch it. No, sir. I had nightmares. I had nightmares for 2 weeks straight, and I only watched 3 episodes. And because I was stupid, I watched it in the dark before I went to bed at night. So, because I'm a bitch baby, I don't know how to watch things like that. I don't like watching things like that. But I woke up like in sheer terror, and I was like, never again. Nope.
Can I just add to this? If any of you know what Hitchhiker's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse is,
okay.
I tried to watch that with Emmy. She couldn't even get past the very first scene. She couldn't get past the first scene with the guy from Workaholics is in it. She couldn't get past that at all. We didn't even get to the title. No,
I got past the first scene. I got
barely.
Okay, you know what?
Barely.
You know what?
Yes.
I watched all of Halloween. I watched that in theaters. I enjoyed it. It was really scary, but at the time I went with someone who I will never talk about again because he's an asshole. But I kind of enjoyed it, except for like we ended up watching like Lord of the Rings afterwards, so like I didn't have it in my head. And we went at like 3 in the afternoon, so we saw matinee, so it wouldn't be late. But like, it wasn't that bad. I kind of enjoyed it. It was pretty good. So I mean, there's a time and place for everything. When I was a kid, I watched Paranormal on TV. And no. I used to sneak watching late night shows when I was a kid that I wasn't supposed to watch. Yes, I was the kid who watched Jersey Shore. Oh god. But I watched that and I'm like, no, I don't ever. I like watched all of it. It was like she had a friend who lived in this like side closet next to her room and like lifted up all the things in the kitchen when the babysitter was there. And then the friend she ended up getting married to with grandma's help, and then dad got murdered. Like, what the fuck? I did not like it.
Okay, like, if there's a couple of movies that I'd want you to see just because of how scared that you would be at seeing them, would probably be the most recent Evil Dead movie.
I don't even like the sound of that.
As well as Insidious? The Insidious series?
No!
Because, I mean, I want to see your reaction.
I got scared by the fucking, like, advertisements for Insidious.
You got scared of the advertisement.
Okay, I gotta admit one thing. I am a horror connoisseur. I savor in horror.
Me too.
Call me the weird kid. I literally watch most horror films and never got scared from it or squeamish.
Okay. Oh, I don't get squeamish.
Oh,
like,
no.
I don't get squeamish, but it's like, I just shit my pants.
Okay, for instance,
not really, but you know what I mean.
The one movie that really got me, or the movie series that really got me, was probably whenever I was I was young. I was like maybe 12 or so. I watched the Grudge movies, all 3 of them.
Oh.
I was so scared. I had nightmares, and I actually asked my mom to print me off a list of the cast, a cast list, so I could put it next to my bed so I could remind myself when I wake up from a nightmare, they're just actors. Or
oh my God.
It was so bad. Like, that's the only movie that really got me scared, but I'm the same as Yin. I'm a horror connoisseur. I love horror movies. Like, I love them. Like,
I gotta admit one thing though. Throughout this whole time, this is probably the most interesting question.
Wow. You know, I see that little bit of shade you're throwing there, Yin.
Yeah, I am saying it with a little shade because the most weirdest questions ever, the most like interesting one, I say that's a great finish.
Just straight up, like, yeah, because the whole, do you feel self-conscious about your wiper speed? That
We gotta quote that.
You gave me a day to find questions, and I went through Reddit, and I found some of the weirdest
And you found
ones,
windshield wiper consciousness.
The windshield wipers are content.
And the tree. Don't forget about the tree.
The tree.
The trees are alive with the sound.
Treesan is blushing because you're staring at it.
It changes colors. It changes colors of the leaves.
Okay,
Oh my
well,
God.
I'm kind of out of questions, and I don't know about you guys, but how do you feel about wrapping things up now?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was great.
That was good.
It's been about an
Thanks,
hour and a half.
everyone.
Next time, research better questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
You know
giving
what?
you. I'm
I'll
giving
be more
you
prepared
until
next time.
I'm giving you until next Saturday. I'm giving you until next Saturday to find the best questions on that Reddit has to offer.
I will find the best questions.
Oh yes,
I
please.
just want to say thanks to
Let 'em
everyone
be
who
weirder than
came out here.
Let them be weirder than this.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone who came out here and listened to our first precursor episode of the Trilogy Podcast. Sorry that it may have been a little weird, but we're trying.
A little weird.
Okay,
That's an
I'm just,
understatement.
trying to say technical difficulties and everything like that, but we're trying our best. And next time, I know for sure that we will definitely be, hopefully, not as less prepared.
We will be prepared because one thing that I'll have to do, I'm going to be working on our overlays for
Overlays, audio fixes definitely will be a thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be working on all that. Emmy's going to be working on getting more questions
Better
for
question.
more polarizing kind of conversations.
Treesan may return at some point in time.
Yes.
And as for Yin, we'll see what he does. We'll see what he
Yin,
brings to the table.
Again, Yin is the pretty boy of the podcast.
Yeah,
Bye.
he's a BTS understudy. There we go.
Okay.
So
Yin is actually here to help with some of our technical issues.
Yeah,
because,
I'm just a technical advisor. I'm
as you
there.
said before, he has his own podcast, and you can check out his YouTube video. It'll be linked either in the chat or the description if we end up listing this video.
We
And
will-
You guys can go check out his stuff. You're on what episode? Episode 17 now, Yin? 15?
Episode 15.
Episode 15. Awesome. And you do these somewhat frequently?
Yeah, I try to.
Okay.
So
But that's not to say to not look out for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
man. He
so
deserves it.
as for that, as Emmy said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. This was a very fun time. We will try to be doing this every Saturday because that is the time when we are free. Most of us are free.
Mhm.
So we're gonna be doing this. Next episode will be episode 1. That'll be a lot better, a lot nicer. We'll be asking a lot better and
More prepared.
and weirder questions. We'll be more prepared on Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. Also, before you leave, just want to let you know this stream, this podcast will be posted. And if you want to, let you know now, Yin's YouTube channel is actually listed in the description, as well as my Twitter, my YouTube channel's a Discord server, as well as my Twitch. If you ever want to check out my Twitch, I will be playing a couple of games over there with friends. I'll probably make a schedule within the next week before the next podcast. But if you want to check that out, go ahead. Want to check out my Twitter? Go ahead and check that out. Follow if you want.
You listed your dead Discord server?
It's not dead. I just kept it secret. So, as for that,
Wow.
Hiding a body is the same thing, Tony.
so
Why?
wow. So, other than that, yeah. Thank you guys for coming out tonight, and we will see you guys next week with another episode
hey.
of the Trilogy Podcast.
If we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Truman Show. Alright, so long, everyone.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Peace out.